From here on, we aren't just following the Donald Trump drama in New York. We are part of it now. We are part of the official record of the people versus Donald Trump. Punch in the gut. You know, Trump has been encouraging his people in New York to come to the courthouse to support him. This is what he got. After large rallies, Trump is greeted at courthouse by a single fan. And I'd like you to close your eyes and try to imagine the one person in New York who showed up to cheer on Donald Trump, okay? Got it? All right, now open your eyes. That's her. There you go.
Remember that one time in school when you forgot to study for a test and tried to wing it? Well, multiply that feeling by $1 billion and you've got the Trump boys in court.
Right. I'm just grooving, man. Chill out. Whether Trump is falling asleep or not, one thing is for sure. The courtroom sketch artist hates him. Contrary to the fake news media, I don't fall asleep during the crooked DA's witch hunt, especially not today. I simply close my beautiful blue eyes sometimes, listen intensely, and take it all in. I don't know how dumb he thinks the people who support him are, but pretty dumb, because today he tried to float the idea that because of the gag order, he's not allowed to testify.
Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So, did you click the subscribe button? Great, thank you so much. Now, back to the video. Jimmy Kimmel's here to remind us all that no matter how bad we think we've messed up, at least we're not on trial for fraud while struggling to raise our right hand. So sit back, relax, and let's all feel a little better about our life choices.
I should have worn makeup.
Oh, yeah, good one. Here's the thing about Don Jr. What he lacks in intelligence, he also lacks in charisma. So, Don Jr. was not at Daddy Donald's last night. The prodigal son was being grilled as part of the $250 million case against their business. There he is, tiny soprano. I wonder what's going through his head right now. And as with all cases involving the family Trump, DJ TJ was sworn in on an upside-down Bible. He will finish his testimony tomorrow, and then Eric will testify, and then Trump will claim he's never met either one of them.
Alright folks, buckle up because we're about to dive into the wacky world of the Trump boys' courtroom antics. Picture this. Two grown men, supposedly seasoned executives, suddenly forgetting how to adult when they step into a courtroom. It's like watching a live-action version of Dumb and Dumber, but with less charm and more legal consequences. Don Jr. and Eric Trump, both well into their 30s, are trying to convince a judge they're just innocent little tykes who got lost on their way to the playground. It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for them. These are the same guys who've been strutting around for years, bragging about running the Trump organization like it's their personal monopoly board. But now, suddenly they can't tell a balance sheet from a bed sheet. It's like they're auditioning for a remake of Big, but instead of wishing to be big, they're wishing to be small-brained. Jimmy Kimmel, never one to pull punches, hit the nail on the head when he quipped, "What Don Jr. lacks in intelligence, he also lacks in charisma."
But he did lash out at the judge on Truth Social. He wrote, "There's no victim except me. Leave my children alone, Engoron. You are a disgrace to the legal profession." That's right, leave. But it's getting serious. There's even some worry Don Jr. could be tried as an adult in this one. Trump was not there in person to support his sons. He had a Halloween party to host.
Ouch. But hey, at least he's consistent, right? Maybe he's going for the "I'm not smart, but at least I'm not likable" defense. Bold move, Donnie. Bold move. And then there's Eric Trump, suddenly claiming he's not a money guy, he's a construction guy. Because apparently pouring concrete is totally what executive vice presidents do, right? I mean, who hasn't seen a company's second in command showing up to work in a hard hat and steel-toed boots? It's like he thinks being an executive is just playing with really expensive legs. You've got to wonder what was going through the judge's mind during all this testimony. Her face probably looked like she was watching a car crash in slow motion, horrified but unable to look away. It's like the judicial version of a trashy reality show. You know you shouldn't watch, but you just can't help yourself. The Trump boys' defense strategy seems to be, if we act dumb enough, maybe they'll let us off with a warning and a juice box. It's like they're hoping the judge will say, "Aw, you poor things, you didn't know any better. Here's a lollipop, now run along and play." But here's the kicker, folks. This isn't some school play where they can fumble their lines and still get a participation trophy. This is a $250 million fraud case. It's like they've brought a crayon to a courtroom fight. You've got to admire their commitment to the bit, though. It takes real dedication to pretend you know less about your job than a goldfish knows about quantum physics. Just when you thought the Trump trial couldn't get any weirder, we've got breaking news from the courtroom, and it stinks, literally. Grumpy Trumpy's latest defense strategy? Chemical warfare. Yep, the former president is reportedly causing quite a stink in court, and we're not talking about his testimony. Is this a clever tactic to clear the room? A protest against the justice system? Or maybe he's just really nervous about facing the music? Whatever the reason, it's clear that Trump's rear end is making its own opening statements. And let me tell you folks, it's not exactly a compelling argument. Jimmy Kimmel, our favorite late night roaster, couldn't resist taking a jab at the orange turd's courtroom antics. He suggested that Trump might need to rethink his diet, saying when you're facing serious fraud charges, the last thing you want is your rear end making its own opening statements. Truer words have never been spoken, Jimmy. But here's the real kicker. How do you cross-examine a fart? Kimmel posed this very question, leaving us all wondering if the prosecution will need to enter Exhibit PU into evidence. Can you imagine the poor lawyer trying to build a case against Trump's toxic emissions? Your Honor, I object on the grounds that the defendant's flatulence is prejudicial to my ability to breathe. And let's not forget about the jury. Kimmel joked that the prosecution might need to request gas masks for them. Talk about a hostile work environment. Is this what Trump meant when he said he'd drain the swamp? Because right now, it seems like he's just filling the courtroom with swamp gas. But wait, there's more. Nutritionists have pointed out that diets high in processed foods and low in fiber can lead to excessive gas. So in a way, Trump's dietary habits are on trial too. Kimmel suggested that Trump should consider eating more vegetables. Can you picture it? Donnie Diapers munching on broccoli between outbursts. Now that's a sight I'd pay to see. From inflating property values to inflating... Well, you get the idea. At least now we know where all that hot air really comes from. It's like Trump's body is rebelling against him, spilling secrets in the most embarrassing way possible. Maybe this is what he meant by letting it all out in court. As this Trump family circus rolls on, it's starting to look less like a serious legal drama and more like a wacky sitcom. You've got to wonder if the Trump organization was just a lemonade stand that got way out of hand. Maybe next we'll find out Eric was in charge of squeezing the lemons while Don Jr. handled the sugar packets. But hey, at least we've got Jimmy Kimmel to help us laugh through this mess. Because when reality gets this bonkers, sometimes all you can do is chuckle. It's like watching a bunch of rich folks try to figure out how normal people live. Spoiler alert, they have no clue. So grab your popcorn, folks. This show's far from over, and who knows what hilarious twists and turns are coming next. Maybe we'll even see the return of Donnie Diapers or Grumpy Trumpy. Stay tuned, this courtroom comedy is just getting started.